and dumbets of the core community. It is I, the truth-talking, non-bullshitting, greatest heel in the land. Me, Professor Buzzard. In today's show, I'm feeling rather chirpy, I must say. Don't think you're going to get an easy ride if I'm just about to diss you. Now, last week's show was the most successful episode yet of Buzzard Knows Best, and I'm obliged by my management team to show my appreciation towards you people. Am I not allowed to say numbskull? Buffoon? Asswipes? No? Okay. If you're wondering who I'm talking to, that is Jeremy over there. He is my assistant / agent. Yes, Jeremy, go away now. Thank you. In last week's show, I talked about why people are so sensitive. And yes, it may have been the most successful edition of my podcast yet. However, there was a bit of a backlash, I must say. Certain individuals, naming no names, because I'm not a drama causer, and plus I'm not really bothered by what these people say, because I don't give a shit! But I had a few direct messages on Twitter. Oh, we do like the Twitter, don't we? On how people have this issue and that issue, that's why they're sensitive, blah blah blah. Like I said last week, if you don't want to have to go at, don't be a moron, a generico! Don't be just... You all heard it before. But that last week's podcast was towards people mainly about promos, but it was also about everyday things. We're offended by everything nowadays. But yes, we talked about that last time. But it was towards people who were cutting promos as well as receiving them. And what I mean by that is, when you're going at someone, go fully on someone. Don't, hold back words. I'm talking about cutting a promo. Don't hold back. Because, that might offend them, there are limitations. Don't just be outright offensive now, because what's the point in that? And when I say don't be offensive, don't! Listen, people! Do not talk about real-life situations, use homophobic slurs, and if there's any homophobes listening, I hate you. Let people love who they like, Goodness sake. And racist people, don't be racist. Just cut a good promo without using unnecessary things like that. Simple, right? But a lot of you don't get it! Anyway, moving on from that subject, today's show is titled, Who Knew That Was There? Now, buffoons, time for a lesson on something some of you may not know and some of you do because you came from there. Today's show is called Who Knew That Was There? Because I want to talk about PS4 communities. Yes, when you go on your PlayStation device. Yes, the community section. Now, maybe what you don't know is that there is another version of the core community. Same thing, not the version's the wrong word, but, like we have Twitter. Yes, there's hundreds of cores on Twitter. That's a type of net, or one box of it. There are other points, like so. As you all know, I am in the Global Creations Alliance, and I have spoken with them recently, just to have a little interview. I asked them some questions. Now, I was the second person ever signed to GCA, and they started in the PS4 community. No Twitter, no of that. They hired people out of PS4 communities, because there's hundreds and hundreds of them. Hundreds of core communities, not as in the core community, but core PS4 communities. There's loads of those, there's creation ones, there's this and that and the other. I was part of let's call it the Independence. It's kind of like the Independence of Core, if you like. Let's call it the Independent, shall we? Now, there's plenty of those shows who don't air anything, if that makes sense. There's no YouTube account, there's none of that. There's just indie shows dotted around. Now, a little history about me, if you don't already know. I was on the Universal Wrestling Entertainment Circuit, so UWEC. Now, this show was global, but it was an independent show, so they would give you updates with pictures and things on the community. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, oh, what's the point, huh? Ooh, what's the point if there's no videos? Oh, shut up, it's fun. I paid my dues. Maybe some of you should do too. Anyway, so I was on this circuit. Now, I went all over the world. Japan, Germany, of course, where I'm from, England, Sweden, America, Canada, Australia, everywhere. And I won titles in pretty much every country. Now, this was just one of many of those independent type shows in the PS4 communities. I spoke to GCA because they perfectly fit this topic. Some of you who are in GCA or have been in GCA, who are listening now, will relate to this. Back in 2017, while I was on the circuit, I was in various different independent shows, including Munich Wrestling Alliance, Smash Pro Wrestling, Hammerdown Wrestling. There was a few of independents I was on. I won titles in all of them, that's to just say. But what GCA did was they started in the PS4 communities. Now, some of you may remember this, but GCA contacted me, and I recently tweeted about this actually, so it perfectly timed. But GCA found me in the UWEC. They saw my work, and they would like to talk to me. And they spoke to me, and told me what they were doing, and I was intrigued. I really was. And they started recruiting out of the communities. They had no Twitter, no Instagram, no social media, apart from that one PS4 community. They hired their first roster out of there. And I mean, look at the success they've had. Look how many GCA stars they've made. I know what you're all thinking. Oh, James Frost, Professor Buzzard, Cody, blah blah and all that. Melissa, Red, just to name a few. They all came out of the PS4 communities. And GCA made their stars. They didn't take them and say, oh, they're cool, and I'll take those for my new upstart promotion. I'll take that. They took people who nobody knew, those big names now, but they took us, and they took some other people, and GCA have given so many people a good start in this community, because they made new stars. They didn't just pinch from other promotions, go, oh, I'll have him, or they're successful there. Oh, they had a good rivalry there, I'll use that for my show. No. What you should be doing is you should be following that suit. You should be going into the communities, going even on Twitter now, there's plenty of those, finding people who are not known, and instead of hiring everyone else's stars who they've made, you should be making new ones, to make your show original. I find these days, the rosters have all become the same, because everyone's taken the stars that other people have made, if that makes sense. I must say, the GCA stars, including myself, wouldn't have gotten anywhere, or may have done, we don't know those timelines, but GCA helped give us a platform to become where we are now. Look at James Frost, my good friend Frostbite. I know he commented last time, saying I couldn't help but mention him, but he's a good example, I may hate him. Hello Frostbite. Yuck. But you know what I mean. Look at Red, it's just... You need to build your own stars, just like I did in the PS4 communities. Am I making sense? I should be. So instead of hiring so many today's stars, if you will, try finding unknown cause, helping them become something, and build your company with your own grown talent. Because otherwise, all these new upstart promotions are just all going to be the same thing. Does that make sense? I know I'm going to get a few hate now and be like, I'm only giving you some advice, heavens above. I know some companies now are going to have a go at me for saying things like that. But say what you will, because I'm right there, aren't I? It wasn't a hate thing, I was just giving some sound advice because I'm just saying what's in front of me. Create your own rivalries. Don't try and pinch one from another company. I'm not saying, they can't go against each other ever again now. What I'm saying is, put them, if you're going to do a proper story, put them against someone new. Or have two new guys go at it and create something legendary. I hate to mention them again, but like me and James Frost did, we were two not very well-known people, and we got rivalry of the season. Because we made that. And it wasn't even over the global championship. We were on the so-called minor championship, the mid-card title, what do I want to call it? I hate it when they call it that. We made that title mean something! It wasn't just a throwaway belt. Another company I was part of, and GCA, if you remember this, GCA fans, they went against a company called RWA in their Battle of the Brands first pay-per-view, yes? Last year. Don't remember that? Go and check it out. Now, the RWA was a PS4 community-based show, and they just gave Red. I did my research. Red, good sir, if you're listening. I found out you were in there, and so was I at the same time. We didn't even know. But I joined a PS4 community called RWA, the Random Wrestling Alliance. And they just gave picture updates. They would do Universe Mode, and they'd give you picture updates about their indie show. It was fun. It's what the core community used to have, but I know it's not that big of these days. But just remember, there are so many opportunities out there. So to promoters, go and look in the PS4 communities. Find those talents, like GCA managed to do, and create your own stars. Yes, maybe have one or two well-known people, have them go against these newbies, but they can elevate the newbies to be like, oh, I see that person, I watched that. But who's that they're going against? It increases their intrigue, so just follow what I'm saying. This should make sense. It's rather simple if you're willing to put the work in. But I have gone scanning through the PS4 communities before I did this show, and I saw that there are many different companies still alive. But there are independents, and you can find other talent. Am I making sense? I should be. If I'm not, you're a bloody numbskull! But that's my message to promoters, to up-and-coming cores, and to even the stars that have been made elsewhere. Don't forget where you came from, and don't sign with too many promotions who are just trying to make their name off of yours. Now, I know what some companies are going to say to me now. Oh, you shouldn't say that, oh. And then some of the stars are like, I can sign where I want. I'm not saying that. I am just saying, if you want this community to flourish a bit more, and have more stars than just the same people over and over again, watch how many companies you sign for. And that brings me on to something. Actually, while we're talking about companies, a little message. Now, I saw a tweet the other day talking about promotions hyping themselves up, then disappearing in 2 weeks, or whatever how long, in 5 minutes. But they get titles made, and they get logos made, and they get all this subsidiary stuff made first, and sign everyone. And then they realize, oh no, I can't do this, it's too hard. Now, I think that might have been on Frostbite's tweet, but I hate plugging him, he doesn't need any more attention. He already won that core contest. Feed his bloody ego. Who knew that could get any bigger? Ugh. If I knew about it, I would have competed and probably beat him. Ha 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 ha. Ugh. He's like a thorn in my side. Anyway, yes. And then I saw, sorry to talk about GCA again, but it's just a good example. They're just a good example to the rest of the community. Follow them, but don't take their stars. Ha 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 ha. Now, if you have a look at what Robert Ashcroft, the GCA founder, said underneath, he gave some sound advice for people. Plan your shows. And speaking of Robert, just on a side note, I am happy to announce that my first guest on my podcast, coming up later this year, I will be interviewing the GCA president and founder, Robert Ashcroft. So if you have any questions for him, please send them through and I will make a list for when I do that asking question segment. So that's exciting. I would like to thank Robert for that. We've had it's actually, speaking of planning, it's taken lots of planning because he's busy. I've got commitments, like trading phone numbers, sorting out times, all that jargon that goes into interviewing someone. So yes, you shall look forward to that in the next wave of shows. So yes, if you're going to start a promotion, make sure you plan it in advance. If you're doing an indie show like the RWA, like the UWEC, where you don't have to film and do all that, just take screenshots, that's easier. So if you can't face producing a show like GCA or whatever, Rocks, whatever you want to call them, try that first. And if you can't do it, don't do it. Don't waste creators' times, creative people's time, and don't hype up something that's not going to appear, unless there's a valid good reason. So here's my message to you. Promoters, cores, whatever, go and find those communities on PS4. There's plenty of them. Shows, you can make new friends, find talent. If you're really looking to make your show original, and really looking to have your company make a mark, find those people, just like GCA did. So yes, that's on that. It's a whole world. The core community spans more than just Twitter. So a bit of a lesson on you today. Now, I would like to move on to something. Now, I may have spoken a little bit about this part of my sensitive podcast, but since then I have received, a rather, let's say, jolly amount of DMs. My tweet about the way people talk to each other through direct messaging. Where it's the one-word answer. I've spoken to several promoters about this, when people just send back, okay, when you've written a proper paragraph with detail, and they just send back one word! One word! How does that help? Especially if you want to know something, okay, as some of you do. Use words! Talk to each other properly! Heavens above. And then I got a backlash for saying, oh, we should be able to respond. Oh my god. I was simply telling people that they didn't invent the language so it could be destroyed by juveniles who think they're too important just to send back one word. Okay. Or thanks. Use words. What are people supposed to do with one-word answers? And then another tweet I did got a backlash, but we won't go into that now. But you saw my response, the guy who told me to choke on my glasses? Heavens above. Is that the best you could come up with? That's why I just shot him down on Twitter. It's not even offensive. You are the example of what too sensitive is. But yes, to wrap it up, before the question time, there is more to the core community than meets the eye. Just like the RWA and all that jargon, there is more. So go and find it. Research it. There is actually an independent circuit out there you could go on. It's just a new experience. One that I flourished from. One like James Frost did. One like Cody Hale did. One like Melissa McNeil did. One like Red. There is so many today's stars. All your favorites today, including me, of course me. I'm your favorite. But we all start from somewhere, and we shouldn't forget where we came from and who gave us our break. You hearing that, people? So don't be a bunch of disrespectful douchebags and buffoons and think you're too important now for a certain place. That message is to some of you, who I've heard about, who have been given a good platform to show them off, and then they're too good, and then they stick the knife in, and then ditch companies because they are too self-important. So get a life to those people, especially when companies have been nothing but good to you. If you would like me to talk about more about the independent circuit, well, I'm going to call it that now. You can direct message me. I will talk more about it. If you want me to talk more about it next week's show, I can. But that message was towards promoters predominantly, but to creators where you can start and be a part of something new. A new experience in the core community. Because yes, it may be seen as a toxic place, but it could be fun. There are so many more experiences than just being on Twitter. There's even an Instagram version. There's a load of people on there. Which I didn't know. And before I go to the questions, if you're going to DM me things like that, you're just going to get a witty response. Dear me. Time for question time, I think. This week we've had a massive load of questions been sent in, and one bad joke. You know who that is. So without further ado, it's time for the Ask Professor Buzzard segment of the show. So let's kick it off. Question 1. From Kyrie Skies now, not Cyanide. Was that how you pronounce it? I saw a little bit of a breakup going on there. Let's have a look. What's your thoughts on people blocking each other out of group chats? It really depends on the person. Obviously, don't have a go at promoters if they can't have someone unblock you, because I know if someone's blocked you, you can't go in a group chat with them. Is that right? Is that technically sound, as you juveniles put it? If you've fallen out with someone they've blocked you, you can't really do much about it. Don't bother promoters to say, oh, can this person be unblocked? Because that's just going to land them in an awkward situation. So, if you don't want to be blocked, don't be a douchebag! I mean, you can't really do anything about it if someone's blocked you, unless you make amends and just, clear the air, as they say. I have seen my own experience, people taking people out these group chats for no reason, and adding them in and taking them out and adding them in. Just don't do that petty behavior, because there is two sides of the coin. Now, the other one I just said, that was the first side, the second side, where people are just being idiots. Just get along with each other! Heavens above. So, Kyrie, if you have been blocked, I don't know if you have, because maybe that's why you're asking the question, I don't know. But maybe people should just get along with each other. And the blocking thing's there if you've had a row or you just don't want to see them. And I have a few people blocked because they're rather annoying. But Kyrie, I don't know you very well. I mean, you're in GTA now with me, but if there is an issue with blocking and you are blocked from a group chat, I don't know if you are, try and sort it out yourself. Try and have a conversation. A civilized conversation. And if the person blocking doesn't want to talk, well, they're either 1, stubborn, or 2, not very grown up. Or for even 3, you must have done something to upset them. I don't know what to say. It's a weird situation, the whole group chat thing. If just people just got along, the world would be just fine. Okay, question 2, by that guy Mark. Hello, good sir. His question asks, what was your thoughts on Davina Rose and Ryan Rose starting drama after the GCA Core Wars after Davina losing? You've missed a few words there, or maybe a few punctuation points, but I can't be asked to correct you right now. However, yes, I did see... Oh, you saw I got involved with that one, didn't you? Well, Ryan Rose, good sir, decided to tweet something that was one of those cryptic tweets he does, where it's aimed at someone but they're not tagged. What I was talking about a few shows back. Just tag them. Unless you don't want to cause drama like me, where I just say things funny and I don't want to give them any recognition because I will give it to them, but they don't deserve it. However, Yes, I did see that because I did respond. You must have seen it. But, it was either the Davina tweeted it and Ryan Rose continuing it. But it was just to say, oh, I don't get an opportunity, blah, 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 something like that. So I responded to tell him to grow up, for starters, and the GTA community movement, which they've brought out, which is absolutely marvellous. However, I did respond, and then they were like, oh, don't respond to something you don't know what we're talking about. We're not talking about that. But they didn't respond back to me. But what I said, well, that was conveniently timed. But things like that. Moaning about not winning. Get over it. And companies like GCS story-driven. You want to see what happens next. Don't go, oh, I lost dislike. No, no, no. Who cares? Get a life, that's what I say. That's my only message back to them, good sir. And thank you for your question. Now, question 3. From Austin King. The name Austin. I've always had bad experiences with Austin, but good sir, hopefully you're the difference. You ask, any thoughts of a new gimmick? I'm probably going change every 2K game. Good sir, good sir. My advice to you, stick to one thing and develop it. Don't change every game. What are you thinking? How are people supposed to get invested in your character if you're constantly changing? Don't change every game. Find a character that you enjoy doing or portraying, and ones companies can put you in stories for, even if they do stories. But one people can get invested, something that's different, something that makes you stand out. But don't change your gimmick every 5 seconds, please. I've spoken to promoters in the past about how annoying that is. Just stick to one. Find one that's you, and develop it like crazy. Look at me! So yes, good sir, no hate towards you, but that's a silly idea. Stick to one. Okay? Question 4. This one's not really a question, it's the bad joke I previously mentioned. Cody Hale, Miss Cyberpunk or whatever she calls herself now. She writes, why was the Buzzard afraid to fly in the thunderstorm? Because he knew lightning would strike. Wah ha ha, as she wrote. Hey, that's my line! And she put fight me because she thinks she's cool. Well, like I said on Twitter, that is not even a joke. Isn't that just a fact? The birds fly away when lightning's gonna hit? Not funny. Stick to cooking those pizzas, good lady, as a side job. Comedy isn't your forte. Stick to the day job. Ha 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 ha! Now that's funny! You working at a pizza place? Ha 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 ha! Ah. Question 5 is from Kyle Young. Is there anyone in the community you'd love to brawl with? Well, I don't back down from any challenge. Is there anyone who wants to brawl with me? I'm always taking on genericos and buffoons. Hopefully one day I'll knock some sense back into them, but they don't have sense to begin with, so it's kinda hard. Ha ha ha. Anyone in the community I'd like to brawl with? Actually, I got tagged in a tweet the other day to say someone would like to see Lance Romance, you know, the GCA Commonwealth champion, the, whatever tag team champion he is. Me and him. Now, I will say this about Lance Romance, I do actually like the guy. I can't find an issue to point out on him. And that's a first. So yes, Lance Romance maybe. I haven't faced him yet. You hear that, Robert? Or any other promotion I'm in, we share a boss. Book it. Lance Romance? Good sir, you're about to get a reality check. Ha 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 ha. Okay, question 6, I believe. From Alexander, my least favorite person in core. How long have you got? I could name a few. I could name a few people that I do not like. Least favorite person. Who's my very least, I wonder? On that massive list of the people I do not like. James Frost I don't like very much, as we all know. Ha ha ha. We like each other really. We don't! Ha 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 ha. Oh dear me. Least favorite person. Now, if I say it, I'm going to cause drama. Oh well, ugh. Ryan Rose! I don't know. Maybe Ryan Rose? Me and him have never really got on. Maybe James Frost. Me and him have always had issues. A storyline, you may think. Oh, good sirs and good ladies. Me and James Frost will never be on the same page. I have a few people I do not like, but I'm not going to say it. Ryan Rose, don't take that personally, but me and you have just never got on, have we? Oh, I know who my least favourite person is! That little piece of shite. That carpet stain. That itch that is annoying you all day long. That bit of mold that keeps growing and growing every time someone mentions him. So this is the last time I'm ever going to say his name, but that little carpet stain, the ninny hammer, the buffoon of all buffoons, is that little piece of Fraser. That core Fraser, little piece of, I'm not going to talk about him anymore, that's it. He's my least favourite. He's the one that gives this community a bad name. So yes, thanks for your question. Even though it might bring me some hate now. Never mind! Okay, question 7 is from Mr. Killalot365. Your thoughts on the NXW World Cup? Well, yes, it was a good showing by superstars, and it was fun for the people. Yeah, if I'm going to go in full detail, I'm going to have to do another show. But, yes, good winner. He's kind of on a roll at the minute, isn't he? It was a good show. Some good matches. Maybe a tad little bit of bullshit. But that is my opinion. Yes, it wasn't the best of shows, but it was fun. It was just fun. Fun for people. Isn't that what we strive for? Yes. Hope that answers your question. I'm employed by them, so I don't want to say something too bad, otherwise they're going to book me in. Actually, what the who cares? Book me all you like, NXW. For me, the show was just... That's my response. And I had to explain that to someone in the NXW group chat when I was sighing. They didn't know what sighing was! Heavens above! So yes, thank you for your question, good sir. Or good lady. I don't know, I can't tell by that name. Oh no, it says Mr. Good sir. Okay, question 8 is from Matt Matthews. I keep seeing that name recently. Hello, good sir. You ask, first off, really enjoying the podcast, even if you care little about if we love you or not. You have been listening. But my question is, what advice would you give to the young and up-and-comers like me who want to start out in the community? I'm interested to hear what you have to say, Sir Buzzard. Well, one, maybe try and structure your sentences a little bit better, good sir. However, as the show's about, maybe try and find a brand new company and try and be signed by them. Become a star elsewhere. Maybe even join the GCA community. I don't know if you're in that, but they're giving opportunities for people outside the roster who are not signed to have a shot at stardom. So maybe have a shot at that. But what you want to do, though, good sir, is have a really good character, a non-generic core, a really good character that people can get invested in. Something that's different from everyone else, not just, oh, I'm better than this person, I'm a cocky heel, I'm like Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. No! Be the first you, and not a cardboard cutout. I feel I should get this on a t-shirt. Be original, as one of the old games used to say. You know, the look of you first. I know they say, oh, it's not about the look and all the rest. Yes, it is! If someone walks down with a preset face, how are you supposed to get invested in that? You look like 100,000 other people. Have an original look, have a gimmick, some catchphrases maybe, like I do, but be original, not a copycat, not like this WWE superstar, like this TNA superstar, or Impact now, this Impact superstar, like AEW, blah, blah, blah. Be the first and only Matt Matthews. Yes? Hopefully that helps, good sir, and I'm hoping you don't become another generico that I can squash. Okay, question 9 is from Robert Hall. Hello, good sir. I recognise your name from somewhere. He writes, do you really know best? That's a simple answer. Yes, I bloody do! And if you're watching, you must think so too. Am I wrong? You wanted to learn. I've pushed you into a corner there. Keep on listening, good sir, and that knowledge will slowly come into recognition. Let's move on! Thank you, good sir, or maybe not thank you, because you're questioning if I know best or not. But yes, I do know best. Buffoon. Question 10, from Brandon Ace. My question to the professor is, how do you feel about people in the community wanting to start drama just for the fun of it? Well, we all know my feelings on that. Like I said before, in everything around the world, entertainment, politics, anything, everyday life, going to educational establishment like college, high school, primary school, or whatever you Americans call it over there, preschool, blah blah blah. Going to a job, your boss may have been absolute little shite, but we all face it in everything. And just like core, and just like real life, there's always someone who wants to stir that pot. Like a high school bully, who's always starting drama for no reason. Or there's always that person, when you were in education, people, or those ones who are still in school now listening. Isn't it past your bedtime? But anyway, if you're in school or out of school right now, my thing is this. Is there somebody in your year group that has a bit of drama every day? Overreacting over something, or has a so-called friendship group that they walk away from every 5 minutes? Say there's 3 of them. When I was in school many moons ago, there was 3 girls and a so-called friendship group. One was the main drama, but every day I went in, 2 of them would have fallen out with the one, and then every day they would swap over. So there was always 2 against 1, but the people would swap, if that makes sense. It was people like that in real life. But when it comes to the core community, we all know my feelings on drama causes. They're a waste of space. They're the ones that give this community a bad name, and they should all just be kicked in the balls. Pardon my French. Like that guy I previously mentioned, I know I wouldn't say it again, but he's a perfect example. He is the toxicity of his community. There's plenty of them, and even the people who are rude. Jada Storm mentioned this on her tweet, and I rather liked what she wrote, because it echoed what I said. Don't be dicks to promoters. They're giving you a platform, so don't be a little shite. Yes, what I rather like, I know I mentioned GC again, but like I said, they're such a good example. They have a 3-strike rule. And my friend Ryan Rose, who I previously mentioned, hello good sir, no hate towards you, but he tweeted something about Kyrie, who had previously asked the question. Just no need for it. No point in writing tweet after tweet. We don't care! Stop trying to get a reaction. Are you that bored that you have to upset someone? Just get along with each other. Unless, if you're like me and have a reason to point someone out on their buffoonery, but you know what I mean. The drama causes are what make this community have a bad reputation. That's right, isn't it? That's all I have to say. And we all know my feelings on them. I just think they're one big pile of steaming little shit. It's just a cover. Do you know what it is? They cause drama because they know they're not good enough. And that's how they get attention. For some reason, I don't know why, the main drama causers, no names, have so many followers. If you don't like them causing drama, don't follow them! Don't give them that attention. That's why I'm not mentioning him again. The one with my least favourite chorus. But yes, good sir, I hate them all. The drama causers. You know, you can tell a story, you can cut a promo, and I'm not saying that. But I'm not being sensitive to drama causers. Before anyone points that out at me. They're just ruining the experience. They're just annoying. They're like that little bug that goes around the room but you can never squish. That gets on your nerves. Like those eye floaters. They're just there. They just nick at you. They're just annoying. They're not fun. They're just annoying. But that's that. Okay. Final question. By 6 Machiavelli. Thank you, good sir, for your kind messages. As we all know, I don't care, but much appreciated otherwise. He wrote a rather large question. At least someone's writing in full paragraphs. Good sir, I applaud you. Hopefully I'll give you a second applause for your punctuation. And grammar skills. Let's have a look here. Cool, I need to put my glasses on. And yes, I didn't shove them down my throat like that guy told me to. Like I said, not for consuming, for my eyes. 6 Machiavelli says, oh dear, good sir, you let me down in the first 2 words. He says, let ask something that hardly I don't see being talked about is show promotions. Promotions like Fame Wrestling still stands due to the product, content, and superstars to put in the work for them and they still going strong. Okay. Yet, when new promotions want to start funding, I think you mean founding, and building up their product, maybe first show is a hit, but come around the second or third numbers fall off, workers won't commit to a match, and ends up that the show is cancelled or forever closed. To what do you say to these shows that shows promise but fail to meet said promise? Oh, okay. Even though that was written slightly odd, I see what you're trying to go there. You're trying to sound educated. You may be, I don't know. But, I get the last bit. To what do you say to these shows that show promise but fail to meet said promise? You know, if you want the show to succeed, watch who you're hiring. Perfect question for what I was just talking about. If this is what you mean, don't hire known people to go off the rails. Hire nice people, just nice. You can tell. Promoters, my little another tip for you. You can tell who is nice and who isn't. It depends how they answer. Now, I spoke to Robert quickly, and he gave me some advice. Yes, I do take advice too from people I do respect. He said, watch how they form a sentence. I mean, I usually do, because I'm always calling people out on it, but in direct messaging. you can tell about what's the word I'm looking for? The not the aura, the feel someone radiates off them. Just by messaging. If it's blunt and demanding, you know they're not very nice or hard to work with. So promoters, be careful who you're hiring. Don't just hire anyone. Hire people that are not going to give you, one, a show bad reputation, and two, will work and help develop that story you're giving them. Like me, not to toot my own horn, but when I'm given a story, I commit to it. I don't go, oh, I don't want to go against that person, oh, I don't like this person. I commit to the story, even if I'm going against a low-life generico. I make the most out of it. I want the story to elevate. I want it to be the best there. So for the calls who are just going to sign with this show and sign with that one, and then not commit to watching it, or just skipping to the end of the matches when they've spent hours creating content, I've seen that when a show's gone live, or put on YouTube or whatever platform. In the next 2 minutes, someone will tweet out the result and be like, oh, I won this. Did you watch the match? What's the point in them recording it if you're not going to watch properly? And then I remember before, in early days of GCA again, there was a guy called Andrew, whatever he was called, Johnson or something, in the early days. I remember when I used to watch the GCA shows, I would just go down to see what comments were made, and he would go, I'm not in the show, where am I, what's this? And then GCA would fondly respond, which I would always like, because it's rather hilarious. They would say, you're right there, watch it. Or, what does this mean? What does the story mean? What's the show? It's a story. It's supposed to go one after the other. There's a beginning, middle, and an end. I know I've seen lots of people like that in various promotions. So what promoters need to do is, one, tell a story. Make sure their shows are telling a story, because when it's just matches, it's just meaningless in the end of the day, isn't it? I know there's a lots of promotions out there that just do matches, and that's no attack at them before they start having a go at me, but make sure you, even if you can't do the editing skills, like, you can't create the segments physically, that's what Twitter's for, right? Why don't you push the story on Twitter and help promote it? And yes, like I said, one, you can have the best promotion ever, but if you've got a roster full of codswallop who are not going to promote it, you don't give two flying monkeys, who don't really care about being there, they just want to be in a show to get the name for themselves, and haven't got the show at heart, then no. Just don't hire those people. Hire people who are excited to be there, who are wanting to be there, who are looking forward to the content. Real fans. But I do know shows do one show and then get disheartened. I think the word someone used previously, I can't remember who. But some promoters get disheartened with their viewers dropping. But you need to make sure you're keeping, one, the roster who you've signed, care, and two, consistent content and interesting storylines, titles that mean something. You just have to make people care and want to be there, and that's mainly down to who you've hired on the roster, if that makes sense. It should do. If not, you're a buffoon. Yes, that's all I can say about that. So to promoters too, again, this is like my promoter's advice. Watch who you're hiring, that's a big deal, because that can just poison the waters. And I know some promoters get put off by some people who demand this and demand that, and they go, oh no, and then the promoter's like, oh, I'm not having this, and then that just ends in tears for everyone. So that, good sir, hopefully that answers your question. If not so, I can elaborate more, if you so wish, if you message me. But that was to promoters too. So that wraps up all this week's questions. Thank you to everyone who sent in those mostly questions, apart from Cody Hale's awful joke. But that brings us to the end of today's show. If you've enjoyed today's show, leave a like or even a comment. Not a one-word comment. But you can follow me at Prof Buzzard on Twitter, at Buzzard Knows Best on Instagram. Make sure you send in questions for next time by using the link that says Ask Professor Buzzard in the description or in my YouTube banner. Send in questions, queries, and anything you want me to talk about. This is your time to ask me, but make sure you write it correctly, please. I will say this, next time on Buzzard Knows Best, it's going to be slightly different. As you all may have seen, the next show is called Professor Buzzard and the World of Dollards. It'll be slightly different, there'll still be the question time, of course, but I will be scrolling through, as this has been asked of me a lot. I will be going through community creations and seeing what appears, and then let's see if we can find one gem. And I'm not looking at WWE superstars, I'm not looking at so-called real wrestlers. I'm looking at so-called original cores. See what pops up, and I'm going to give my live commentary on that. Let's see if we can find a nice glistening diamond in the rock among the many useless stones around it. That's probably not going to happen, but this is going to be entertaining for you because most of you have asked for it. You wanted me to look through community creations, but it's going to be a rather big sigh and a headache for me. Ha 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 ha. I have been Professor Buzzard, and you all need to remember that Buzzard knows best. Ha 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 ha.